Well, thousands more people are leaving their homes in the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh. Armenian authorities say more than 28,000 people have left since Azerbaijan took over Nagorno-Karabakh in a military operation a week ago. World leaders and the United Nations are calling for the refugees to be protected and better access for humanitarian aid.
They flee in cars, buses and trucks from Nagorno-Karabakh into Armenia. The people crammed inside are exhausted. Many spent the night on the road. They fear they are leaving their ancestral lands for good.
Now we are stray dogs. That is our status. Let the world know that we are stray dogs.
Many Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh feel they have no choice but to pack up and leave. Azerbaijan blockaded the region for 9 months before its military swooped in last week. Azeri authorities insist their so-called counter-terrorism action did not target civilians.
Republic of Azerbaijan, and as a result of the counter-terrorism actions on the ground, first of all, didn't enter to the civilian settlements and major cities, and it was limited by nature. And so far, Azerbaijani armed forces and police forces mainly are guided by these principles, and we are also in closer contact with the local Armenian representatives on the ground.
But on the ground, vehicles jam the road out. Everything is lacking for the journey, including fuel. This led to disaster when a gas tank exploded while people queued at a fuel depot. Dozens were killed and many more were injured. Some of the victims were treated and evacuated by Russian peacekeepers. They've been stationed in Nagorno-Karabakh since Azerbaijan wrested much of the enclave from Armenian separatist forces in 2020. After decades of interethnic tensions, Armenians feel unsafe. As the exodus gathers pace, this father is reunited with his daughter on the Armenian side of the border. A moment of relief at a time of desperation.
Right, we're going now to Kornitstor, a town near Armenia's border with Azerbaijan, to speak to journalist Neil Hauer. Neil, what more do we know about the aftermath to that massive explosion at a petrol depot?
I mean, we're still coming to grips with what exactly happened and the casualty toll. I mean, yesterday I was talking to a friend who came from Nagorno-Karabakh, just arrived, and he had been in the capital when his friend called him and told him of the explosion. And his friend who had witnessed it described seeing well over 100 burned bodies of the ground. So the death toll from that sounds like it's been absolutely horrific.
Neil, that happened as there's a massive movement of people going on. There are talks happening between the Armenian representatives and the Azerbaijan government on the terms of integration. But what is forcing ethnic Armenians to leave Nagorno-Karabakh?
I mean, if you talk to people coming out, they all have the same ultimate answer of why they've left, is that, you know, the Azerbaijani government has starved and blockaded them for 9 months, and then last week shot and bombed them and killed hundreds of people, and still is not allowing any humanitarian aid, any international organizations to access the region. And so these people say, like, there's no way we can possibly live under a government that starved and then killed us, and we'd better get out now before we lose the chance to do it.
With that in mind, is there a chance here that this is no longer some or a quarter, but potentially a majority of ethnic Armenians leaving their homeland?
I mean, I think it will be pretty close to what the advisor to the president of Nagorno-Karabakh said, that 99.9% of people there will leave. I think it's going to be an overwhelming exodus. You know, everyone there is well aware of, has been sharply reminded several times of how the government of Azerbaijan feels towards them, and people are not going to take any chances.
Is Armenia then, Neil, able to deal with the large number, the huge number of refugees?
I mean, it's tough. I'm starting to hear the first stories now of people having difficulty finding housing. It's been becoming a bit chaotic. I'm not sure how good the government's plans here have been. At any rate, 120,000 refugees for a country of under 3 million people, as Armenia is a huge burden to suddenly take on. So it's definitely becoming challenging.
You touched on it. The EU has hosted talks between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Beyond talking, though, what role can Europe and the international community take here?
I mean, they can first off provide additional aid to Armenia in dealing with this refugee crisis, and then they can also provide some sort of credible deterrence against Azerbaijan to go even further, as Azerbaijan now indicates that it may very well launch a military assault against Armenia itself to seize the so-called Zangezur corridor. And so the West can go beyond words and they introduce the threat of credible action, sanctions, credible actual consequences for Azerbaijan this time if it continues to conduct military aggression.
Finally, what do you read into the fact that Azerbaijan is not allowing international observers into the region?
I mean, I think it's quite clear they don't want people to know what's happening there. They don't want people to know the dire state that it's not, as they say, the reintegration. It's expulsion of this population. There's no, and the conditions for the people who are still there are extremely dire. Very, very poor humanitarian situation and a lot of hunger and wounded people. So, and Azerbaijan does not want the world to know this and wants to continue lying to them.
Neil Hauer, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.